Hey, hey, hey. It's Filter Free Friday, y'all. Listen, I am so glad you're here. I am going to give my little disclaimer this morning. I've had an interesting couple of days, so I'm going to do all I can to thread this needle uh, without committing any of the cardinal sins. If my friends here know that I have had a non paternity event. And, interestingly enough, um, my sibling group is just like every other sibling group, I believe, and that sometimes we fight about things. And um, I mean, how often should you see your mother? How often should you come around? How often should you call? Do you give presents or not? It's a typical sibling rivalry. And my non paternity event didn't do anything but make that worse. But every once in a while, somebody will misunderstand and they will think that they can get in on this rivalry against the Kansas City's own Dr. Nicole Price. And every once in a while, someone will call one of my siblings um, to try to have a conversation about what is wrong with me and try to get them on their side. Now, if you don't know, me and my siblings, we not the same. I like to think that I'm pretty much a diplomat. I want everybody to like me. I know you ain't supposed to. I'm in therapy about it. I know that everybody ain't gonna like you, but child, I just don't want nobody to be unhappy. And people are surprised to know that about me, especially considering that I do kind of speak the truth. And I try to speak it in love whenever I can. But you just gonna rub some people the wrong way. But every once in a while, they make the cardinal mistake of reaching out to my siblings, thinking A, that we are the same, and B, that they gonna get some help. Child, I pity the fool. Call my brother if you want to. You gonna get cussed out. Call my sister if you want to. You gonna get cussed out. And I think that we have a lot to learn from my sibling situation. And here's why. I am going to violate one of my rules, and I am going to be hypocritical because I think that we should not get distracted. We should not allow people to divide us because that is the way that you destroy communities. However, I'm going to distract us for just a moment. We are legitimately having debates about whether or not slavery benefited Black people. And I spent my entire week saying, Nicole, are you going to address this foolishness? Like, are you going to spend any time on this, or is this a distraction? A, this is a distraction. And B, I'm going to spend time on it because I'm going to let you know why it's a distraction. So I think I can get a pass. I don't know. Y'all give me some comments and let me know. But can you imagine saying that the Holocaust benefited Jewish people? And folks actually being on television, legislators actually passing legislation that includes this content. And can you imagine anybody saying that and it flying? Okay. What about, let's come to a more recent event. Can you imagine us saying that the Columbine shooting benefited those children who were shot, and somehow it is better for us because of that, because that has happened? I mean, y'all let me know. I can't imagine that. Can you imagine talking to Japanese Americans after they have had tried to repair the harm by giving them reparations, by saying, that time y'all spent in those concentration camps out in California, absolutely a benefit to your people? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine somebody saying to us that September 11th was a benefit to the people who were in the Twin Towers? Can you imagine that? And because you cannot imagine that, I think it is a great strategy to just try to change the scenario to a group you appreciate and say the same thing. And then that's a way for you to kind of get and understand that if something makes sense or not. You see, because you appreciate, the white folk who were in the Twin Tower, the children who were in Columbine, because you were and let's just be clear, there's a reason why I said only white folk for the Twin Towers. Think about what the compensation has looked like for Black and brown people who were impacted by that event, and then come back and talk to me about it. So when you consider that we do tend to think that Jewish people are valuable, that we do tend to think that people who have been victims of mass events, whatever they were, that we think those people are valuable, we would never associate, no matter how horrible, that event with the benefit. It is only for people for whom we do not find value that we make this ridiculous connection to say slavery benefited Black people. We got some skills. You see, what's interesting is you also won't say that Black people came to this country with skills. Otherwise, you wouldn't have brought us here. You see, if you didn't need our intellectual horsepower or our physical bodies, you wouldn't have brought us here. And so I would like to invite us, I was meaning to look this up before I got online, and I didn't. But I tell you what, this distraction where you got people having conversation about what benefited Black people and too many folks silent. Let me tell you what, child, if you ain't got $900,000 like liquid cash and $10.8 million in net worth, you need to be sticking together with all the rest of us, because you down here in the bottom being hurt and harmed. And see, siblings get that, see. And if you call my siblings and you want support from my siblings, just know at the end of the day, we recognize that just like the rest of us all in the bottom 99%, my siblings all know we all go Gertrude Price's children. And so when you call, you're going to get a cussing out. And that's something that we all need to learn about what solidarity looks like. You see, when somebody call you and you quiet, silence represents complicity. That means they think you agree. When you call and somebody's silent, that means everything you say, they like, they agree with me. Because disagreement speaks up. And when disagreement does not speak up, folk just move right along thinking that you right along with them. And you ain't got to be nasty. You ain't got to be crude. You ain't got to be rude. You ain't got to cuss nobody out. But let me tell you this. If slavery benefited me, what did the history of racial terror and torture and nonsense that y'all learn, how that benefits you? Because when I watch Dateline NBC, I think there's a pathology behind people who will kill their own mothers so they can get insurance money. And that makes you not understand what it looks like to have kinship. And what does kinship mean? And what does it mean to stick together because you believe that all of us are, what's today? The 28th of July? It was just 24 days ago. You was telling me how this country just the best there is. How can you say that when you want to make up, whitewash, erase the history? You see, if you love something, be in love with the truth. It's Filter Free Friday, y'all. We got plenty work to do.